Thank you, everyone. If you could remain standing for the singing of O Canada.
O Canada.
Thank you. I'd like to invite the Reverend David Barker to come forward to provide a blessing on this event.
Privilege that I've had for being in the Tri-Cities for the last 23 years, and many of those representing many congregations within this community through the Tri-City Ministerial Association, with whom we have a long association with the mayor and councillors through the prayer breakfasts. So I thought we'd just remind ourselves of a 4,000-year-old praise item, and then a great greeting from about 6,000 years ago, to keep in line with so much of truth. Serve the Lord with gladness, come into his presence with singing. Know that the Lord, he is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving, and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and bless his name, for the Lord is good. His steadfast love endures forever, his faithfulness to all generations. Let's pray. Almighty God, the creator of us all, we recognize that without help, government and even family, and most certainly community, could never hold together. And so we come today to know that all commandments, laws, and even bylaws are summed up in these wonderful words. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind and your strength, and love your neighbor like you love yourself. And so to the mayor and to the councillors on this auspicious evening, I would say, The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up a light of his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated, everyone. I would like to invite the Honourable Judge Bonnie Craig to come forward to provide the oaths of office to members of council, the first of which would be Mayor Richard Stewart.
I, Richard Stewart, do swear that I am qualified to hold the office of Mayor for the City of Coquitlam, to which I have been elected. I have not by myself or any other person knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the Community Charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect financial interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect of the matter. And I will abide by my duty to respect the confidentiality of any records held in confidence by the City of Coquitlam until the record is released to the public as lawfully authorized or required, and any part of a council meeting or council committee meeting that was lawfully closed to the public until the council or committee discusses the information at a meeting that is open to the public or releases the information to the public.
Thank you. Please affirm it with your signature. Or swear it with your signature. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Councillor Brent Asmundson to come forward.
Swear or affirm this.
Thank you. I, Brent Adjourn, do swear that I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the City of Coquitlam, to which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in any relation to my election to office. I will faithfully perform my duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the Community Charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect financial interest I have in a matter, and I will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect to the matter, and I will abide by my duty to respect the confidentiality of any records held in confidence by the City of Coquitlam until the records is released to the public as lawfully authorized or required. Any part of a council meeting or council committee meeting that was lawfully closed to the public until the council or committee discussion the information at that meeting that is open to the public or releases the information to the public.
Thank you. Please confirm your oath by signing the document.
Thank you.
I would now like to invite Councillor Craig Hodge to come forward.
Please swear or affirm the document.
I, Craig Hodge, do swear that I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the City of Coquitlam to which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relationship to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the Community Charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect financial interest that I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect to the matter. And I will abide by my duty to respect the confidentiality of any records held in confidence by the City of Coquitlam until the record is released to the public as lawfully authorized or required, and any part of a council meeting or council committee meeting that was lawfully closed to the public until the council or committee discuss the information at a meeting that is open to the public or releases the information to the public.
Thank you. Please confirm your oath by signing the document. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I would now like to invite Councillor Dennis Marsden to come forward to take the oath of office.
Please swear or affirm the contents of this document.
I, Dennis Marsden, do swear I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the City of Coquitlam to which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the Community Charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect financial interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect to the matter. And I will abide by my duty to respect the confidentiality of any records held in confidence by the City of Coquitlam until the record is released to the public as lawfully authorized or required, and any part of a council meeting or council committee meeting that was lawfully closed to the public until the council or committee discusses the information at a meeting that is open to the public or releases the information to the public.
Please confirm your oath by signing the document. Congratulations.
I would now like to invite Councillor Terry O'Neill to come forward to take the oath of office.
Please swear or affirm the contents of this document.
I, Terry O'Neill, do swear that I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the City of Coquitlam to which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public affairs, public matters. As required by the Community Charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect financial interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect to the matter. And I will abide by my duty to respect the confidentiality of any records held in confidence by the City of Coquitlam until the record is released to the public as lawfully authorized or required, and any part of a council meeting or a council committee meeting that was lawfully closed to the public until the council or committee discusses the information at a meeting that is open to the public or releases the information to the public.
Please confirm your oath by signing the document. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I would now like to invite Councillor May Reid to come forward to take the oath of office.
Please swear or affirm the contents of this document.
I swear, I, May Reid, do swear, I am qualified to hold the office of Councillor for the City of Coquitlam to which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the Community Charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect financial interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect to the matter. And I will abide by my duty to respect the confidentiality of any records held in confidence by the City of Coquitlam until the record is released to the public as lawfully authorized or required, and any part of a council meeting or council committee meeting that was lawfully closed to the public until a council or committee discusses the information at a meeting that is open to the public or releases the information to the public.
Please confirm your oath by signing the document. Thank you. Congratulations.
I would now like to invite Councillor Terry Towner to come forward to take the oath of office.
Please swear or affirm the contents of this document.
I, Terry Towner, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of Councillor for the City of Coquitlam to which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the Community Charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect financial interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect to the matter. And I will abide by my duty to respect the confidentiality of any records held in confidence by the City of Coquitlam until the record is released to the public as lawfully authorized or required, and any part of a council meeting or council committee meeting that was lawfully closed to the public until the council or committee discusses the information at a meeting that is open to the public or releases the information to the public.
Please confirm your affirmation by signing the document. Could I just have the document? Thank you. Congratulations.
I would now like to invite Councillor Chris Wilson to come forward to take the oath of office.
Please swear or affirm the contents of this document.
I, Chris Wilson, do swear solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the City of Coquitlam to which I have been elected. I have not by myself or any other person knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the community charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect financial interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect to the matter. And I will abide by my duty to respect the confidentiality of any records held in confidence by the City of Coquitlam until the record is released to the public as lawfully authorized or required, and any part of a council meeting or council committee meeting that was lawfully closed to the public until the council or committee discusses the information at a public meeting that is open to the public or releases the information to the public.
Please confirm your oath by signing the document. Thank you. Congratulations.
I would now like to invite Councillor Benita Zerillo to come forward to take the oath of office.
Please swear or affirm the contents of this document.
Thank you. I, Benita Zerillo, do swear solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the City of Coquitlam, to which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the Community Charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect financial interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect to the matter, and I will abide by my duty to respect the confidentiality of any records held in confidence by the City of Coquitlam until the record is released to the public as lawfully authorized or required, and any part of a council meeting or council committee meeting that was lawfully closed to the public until the council or committee discusses the information at a meeting that is open to the public or releases the information to the public.
Thank you. Please confirm your oath by signing the document. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I would now like to invite Mayor Stewart to give his inaugural address.
Councillor Asmussen just referred to a wardrobe malfunction here. So. Thank you very much. Before I get to the inaugural portion of this address, I do want to, first of all, thank everyone for coming out tonight. And I'd also like to begin by introducing, in a few more words, our new council. In order of their length of service, and then alphabetically, we'll start at a few years of service. Councillor May Reid, 23 years of service. And yes. With that, she brings a wealth of knowledge, community history, as well as a strong background in finance, legal, and real estate. Councillor Reid is well known for her passion for public safety, the Riverview lands, and of course, her pet project, the Coquitlam Animal Shelter, which wouldn't even exist without her leadership in creating this facility. It's great to have you back. Next, Councillor Brent Asmussen, who was first elected in 2005, the same year I was. As a professional transit driver, someone who drives our streets every day, Councillor Asmussen brings a unique perspective to transportation planning discussions. He has a strong business sense and has also contributed and provided expertise to more than a dozen committees throughout the city. 3 years ago, in 2011, 2 former journalists joined council. Councillor Craig Hodge, starting his second term, has proven to be a steadfast voice around the table and at committee meetings. He spent most of his career as a photojournalist, first for the Columbian newspaper and then at the Tri-City News. This experience and knowledge provided him with a depth and breadth of understanding of our community that is really an asset to our council. As a councillor, he's been a passionate advocate for amateur sport, for community heritage, and the Riverview lands. Councillor Terry O'Neill, also in 2011, a longtime journalist and writer, beginning his second term as well. Not only does he bring a sound knowledge of the issues in our community, but he also spends countless hours volunteering for causes such as the Coquitlam Foundation and the Alzheimer's Society of BC. Councillor O'Neill is also a master researcher who quickly finds facts and broader context on issues being debated at the council table. A Googler extraordinaire, a powerful singer, and a master punster who apparently starts O Canada several notes higher than anyone else I know. And then expects me to pick up the French parts. Last year's by-election brought in 2 new council members. Councillor Chris Wilson, a former Olympian, brings to council a business degree and a wealth of knowledge about this community as a longtime Coquitlam resident, and from his work as the Executive Director of Kids Sport Tri-Cities and Chair of Operation Red Nose, which incidentally is starting its operation for this season. I'd give you the 1-800 number, but I don't know it off by heart. Chris also brings a strong passion for such important issues as affordable housing, and that's going to be an important issue in this next term. Also elected in the by-election, Councillor Benita Zerillo. As a local business owner, she brings a strong economic voice to council. She also brings an interest in good process, and that's important, and in arts and culture, in community safety, and the environment. I know she sat on the Economic Development Committee at the Chamber, and welcome back, Councillor Zerillo. And finally, we come to our 2 newly elected councillors. Councillor Dennis Marsden brings a strong financial background from his professional work as a branch manager at local credit unions. He has also served on the BC Chamber of Commerce, the Tri-Cities Chamber of Commerce, and as has Councillor Hodge, and a number of other volunteer financial positions. This financial background will certainly be an asset to the financial discipline we bring to our budget deliberations. And Councillor Terry Towner, also a long-time Coquitlam resident and a strong advocate for community safety, particularly traffic and pedestrian safety, and there's words about that later in this presentation. She's been a tireless community volunteer with her PAC, with DPAC, the District Parent Advisory Council, with SHARE, with Operation Red Nose again, and with Amateur Sport and many others. This is a remarkable council in many ways. I want to congratulate each of you on your successful election or re-election, and welcome back. Look forward to working with you. I want to acknowledge that it was a very hard-fought and spirited campaign for everyone. We are 9 people with 9 different views, and I've spoken to all 8 of my colleagues, and all of them have expressed the same interest. I want to speak more with them all because it's an interest we share. Let's move forward together and working together. The trend of this council in recent years is one of working toward consensus, evidenced by the fact that most of our votes are unanimous. We've even had quite a few unanimous meetings where all of our votes were unanimous. I look forward to working with all of you over the next 4 years, building a better Coquitlam. I'd also like to thank and acknowledge all of the candidates who put their names forward but weren't successful. Councillor candidates Ben Craig, Justin Kim, Mo Kupahi, Mark Mahovlich, Massimo Mandarino, Shobha Nair, Andy Shen, and Jack Trumley. It's a big commitment to run a campaign, to let your name stand, and I applaud you on behalf of Council and the City. I applaud you all for participating, for engaging, and I especially want to thank your campaign teams for engaging as well. And finally, this brings me to acknowledging the work of our 2 outgoing members of Council. Councillor Lou Sikora served on this Council from 1975 to 1983, was Mayor from 1983 to 1998. He served as Member of Parliament in Ottawa and as a citizenship judge before returning to Council in 2005. Councillor Sikora has made many remarkable contributions to this city. While we didn't always agree, I know that Lou loves this city, and I acknowledge on behalf of Council and our residents 4 decades of contributions to Coquitlam. Thank you, Lou. We wish you well. And Councillor Neil Nicholson, who was first elected to Council in 2007. We will miss his thoughtful input around the Council table. Neil's input was always carefully considered and deliberate, and his background as an accountant was of great value to our residents. I've said it before and I'll say it again, we were in agreement way more often than we differed. Thank you very much, Neil. I suspect we'll still see a lot of you. Thank you. Now, as we begin the next 4 years, it's worth looking back at some of the past successes. Certainly one of the big successes, and ultimately something that will change our community, is the arrival of the Evergreen Line. It took more than 25 years, but as of today, December 1st, the gantry is over Barnett Highway, installing what will be the last stretch of guideway, which will end right across the street from City Hall. By summer of 2016, rapid transit will carry you from Coquitlam to downtown Vancouver in about 35 minutes. And one of the big achievements on this project is the Lincoln Station. In the middle of our city centre, the addition of this station was a priority for us. So through innovation and creativity, we created a P3 model with major support from the federal government to make this station happen and to improve this level of service for our residents. The creative model we developed for this partnership is now being cited across the region as a best practice for public transit infrastructure. Another recent achievement is our new homeless shelter at 3030 Gordon, being constructed today on city land with provincial funding. We've bolstered public safety by adding a new fire rescue company, by building a new Northeast Fire Hall, and by adding more RCMP members and resources to help keep our community safe. And we've improved amenities across the community. On the Parks and Rec side, this includes a new turf field at Town Centre Park, the Poirier covered dry floor facility nearing completion, and improvement to the Coquitlam Crunch, Mackin Park, Glen Park, and to playgrounds and spray pads throughout the community. And in the area of infrastructure and engineering operations, improved water, sewer, and road infrastructure across the city, environmental enhancements such as rain gardens, and improvements to sediment control, to name just a few. And yet, even with all those improvements, the next 4 years will be even busier. We're a rapidly growing city. Coquitlam was recently chosen as one of a handful of municipalities to be highlighted at the International City Management Association's 100th Anniversary Conference in Charlotte, North Carolina. This recognition of the way Coquitlam is managing its growth and development is a sign that people are starting to take notice of our efforts, not just in the Lower Mainland or across Canada, but internationally. As we continue to move forward, it is vital that we manage our growth in a deliberate and thoughtful way. For example, in early 2015, we'll be working on the neighbourhood planning processes for Burquitlam, Lougheed, and Northwest Burke. For Burquitlam, this means building on our transit-oriented development strategy and the opportunities the Evergreen Line will bring to that community while preserving the character of this long-established neighbourhood. In the city centre, the Pine Tree Way Enhancement Project will ensure that the Evergreen Line corridor going past City Hall here is safe and aesthetically pleasing, as well as highly functional and pedestrian-friendly. In Millardville, we will continue to work to preserve the history of this neighbourhood while ensuring a vibrant revitalization guided by local residents. Notre communauté francophone de Millardville est vraiment important pour nous en tant que ville. C'est important qu'on protège notre patrimoine francophone. Last year, we were happy to be able to purchase the Booth Farm, one of Coquitlam's most historic buildings, and we now look to create something special around this priceless asset. Both Millardville and all of Coquitlam will benefit from an official heritage management plan, a priority for 2015. And in the Northeast, we will begin consulting soon on the Central Village area, which will become the heart of the Partington Creek neighbourhood and the commercial centre of Burke Mountain. As Burke's population grows, the city continues to ensure that the needed infrastructure and services are in place to serve those new residents. Roads and sidewalks, pipes, electrical and communications, even fibre optic, arterials and traffic lights, parks and playgrounds, and trails and sediment control. Even our new Burke Mountain Fire Hall, which will open shortly. But of course, I've left out two. The two biggest pieces that are outside of our jurisdiction, schools and buses, remain a challenge. We were proud to recently announce the joint purchase with School District 43 of a joint elementary school and park site in the Smiling Creek neighbourhood. We were able to accelerate the acquisition of the property by partnering creatively with the school district. We know residents, many with young families, are anxious to see schools built quickly. With new school trustees and a new superintendent, we hope to build on the progress we have made in this direction, but it will require a strong focus. We, and by we, I mean City Council, City staff, the school district, the development industry, and the Burke Mountain community, must work together to unblock these obstacles so that schools get built. And we will do that. The same is true for transit. The Burke Mountain neighbourhood will only be successful when it's properly served by public transit. Transit must be made to find a solution. Simultaneously, the city will be working on our housing affordability strategy, with consultation continuing into 2015. We need to continue to work with nonprofits, with developers, senior governments, to ensure the provision of a wide range of affordable housing choices for Coquitlam residents. Another major priority for this council will be the future of the Riverview lands. I've lived all my life within a mile of this magnificent site, and like many, I stood against the proposed sale of the Riverview back in the mid-90s. Council stood up again a decade later, and Councillor Reid helped work on that report that proposed to government ways of preserving the site. 6 months ago, we set out Coquitlam's renewed vision for the Riverview lands, developed by Dr. John Higginbottom, a former vice president of Riverview Hospital. Dr. Higginbottom's report proposes a modern, state-of-the-art psychiatric hospital with support services, along with an acute care hospital. We'll be working hard on advancing this widely supported vision. Many of you have heard me speak recently about our daughter. Vanessa has been very public about her mental health challenges, and a very courageous 23-year-old who approved this message. She's always fought hard to end the stigma associated with mental health, a stigma that many people face. And she believes, as I do, that the only way to fight stigma is to talk about it. And so it's no secret that mental illness is a deeply personal issue for our family, as it is for so many families. Having navigated the last 2 months through her hospitalization and treatment, having seen firsthand the challenges faced by families struggling with this multifaceted disease, I am more committed than ever to see us advance this vision. And having heard from so many families and individuals these past 6 weeks, I know what's at stake. And what's more, I'm more optimistic than ever as well. I'm more optimistic. We've seen services reestablished in Hillside, and Brookside is renewed and set to reopen with new patients as well. And we're speaking today with government about additional investments on the site. I know Council is 100% behind this vision, and I believe we can get there. Another significant plan under development is the Parks, Recreation and Culture Master Plan. I'd like to thank everyone who has provided input to this draft plan so far. When complete, this comprehensive framework will become the guiding document for our decisions related to parks, recreation and culture for the next 10 to 15 years, to ensure that resources are allocated carefully, deliberately, and with a view to the future. We will continue to improve our parks and green spaces, and we just completed major improvements in Millardville's Mackin Park and City Centre's Glen Park, as well as an addition to Coquitlam's Cottonwood Park. Next on the list, Rochester Park, Lee Park, and Victoria Park are all priorities for improvements and enhancements. And Mundy Park, our beloved urban forest jewel, will finally see the implementation of a forest management plan to help ensure that the ecology there is managed and balanced with the needs of users. And Coquitlam will continue to celebrate. We'll be looking at creating a town centre festival site to improve and enhance celebrations there, such as Canada Day. Our Canada Day celebration only started 5 years ago, in 2009, and it has quickly become an amazing success. And there are many other festivals and celebrations that can benefit from this site at Town Centre. Looking ahead to 2016, we'll be celebrating the BC Senior Games, as well as Coquitlam's 125th birthday. We're a community that loves to celebrate, and Councillor O'Neill will probably sing.
No.
Unless we vote on it, apparently.
Yeah.
Another important issue for our future success seems like a relatively simple matter, but is really just as important: pedestrian and traffic safety. We've done a lot of work to improve pedestrian and traffic safety throughout Coquitlam, especially around elementary schools through our school walkability program. A great example of this is Mundy Road Elementary. I remember as a parent dropping off Amanda at Mundy and the terrible safety challenges that faced both parents and kids. Similar issues at Rochester and Porter and Ranch Park and Panorama and so many other schools in Coquitlam. A large number of elementary schools have seen some significant improvements and investments: new crossings, new crosswalks, new sidewalks, improved signage, and curb extensions, etc. A priority for 2015 will be allocating resources and capital so that middle schools can begin to benefit from these improvements as well. Our goal is to ensure that kids are safe to walk and bike to school again, and that seniors and families can walk safely in their neighborhoods. We will also continue our work on improving other types of less visible infrastructure in the city. And at this point, communication said that's too vague. But I quickly pointed out that nobody has ever asked City Council for new pipes or sewage pumps, but they're still vital, and we still have to install them, and we've got a number of those kinds of investments in the queue. Ultimately, all of those important issues require financial support. Over the past 6 years, we've strongly embraced fiscal discipline and will continue to do so. During those 6 years, the City has doubled the reserve funds on hand to replace critical infrastructure while reducing taxpayer-supported debt. As a council, we must continue to work to keep property taxes low. The past 5 years have seen smaller and smaller increases each year, with this past year's increase the smallest since 2005. We know residents want access to strong services and amenities while keeping a tight hand on costs. Our Stop Doing list and the City's Business Improvements Committee will continue with the goal of ensuring that city services run as efficiently as possible. We continue on our efforts to support local jobs and businesses in Coquitlam, advancing the 15-year tax shift at an accelerated rate. We've undertaken a number of other measures as well, including business outreach, consolidation of 9 industrial zones into 3, streamlining of business licenses from 70 categories down to 8, and the new intermunicipal business license, which makes it easier for mobile businesses to operate across the Tri-Cities. I want Coquitlam to be the easiest place to create a job, and I believe we all want that. And while we're not there yet, we have made significant progress. And we won awards for it, including last year's Provincial Open for Business Award. One of our other great strengths is that we're part of a region, locally here in the Tri-Cities and the broader Metro Vancouver region. Locally, our 3 cities are working together better than ever before, and we need to nurture and support that mutual cooperation. I want to acknowledge re-elected Mayors Greg Moore and Mayor Mike Clay, who's here today. Mike, I saw you there. There you are. There you are. And their respective councils. And I pledge on behalf of our council to continue to work together on issues that benefit our residents. The wardrobe malfunction continues. This is the chain of office. It's symbolic of the office of mayor. It contains the names of the 16 mayors who've held this office before me in the 123-year history of our city. Some mayors wear their chains of office frequently. I seldom wear it. The last 2 months, with our daughter's health crisis and with the challenges our family faced, the chain pulled hard and heavy. I felt a different symbolism of the chain. And when Vanessa was hospitalized in the middle of the campaign, I had to discard the chain and focus on home. I want to acknowledge the council colleagues, my colleagues who assisted during that time, particularly Councillor Reid. She knows why.
Better tell them.
The new therapy dog that chews my shoes, Councillor Reid drove all the way out to Chilliwack to pick up that dog for our daughter. So thank you, Councillor Reid. In that context, and in so many other contexts, I want to acknowledge our families. The work of council often takes us away from our families. And when meetings go late, and they often do, or events take up our weekends, and they almost always do, it's our families who feel it. Many of our families are in the room tonight. To all of our families who support us in public life and who let us pursue the challenges and rigors of leading a community, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And finally, I want to acknowledge you, the public. Coquitlam isn't about parks or streets or neighborhoods. It's about the people who use those parks, who drive those streets, who live in those neighborhoods. It's about you, the residents, who entrust to us your hard-earned dollars and who have put their faith in us to lead this community for the next 4 years. Our commitment to you is that we will spend the next 4 years working together as a team of 9 working with perhaps one of the most incredible staffs I've ever had the opportunity to work with, and I acknowledge those staff members that work for our city today. Our commitment is to spend the next 4 years working together, striving to live up to those expectations, setting aside our differences, setting aside conflict if we can, and I hope we can, and I pray we can, and I commit to doing that, so that we can strive to live up to the expectations of our residents while continuing to put you and your families at the center of the decisions we make. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Shishe, Dorje, Kamsamnida, grazie, gracias. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Stewart. I will soon invite Council to move adjournment. However, once that action is completed, I would like everyone here to remain in their seats and, in fact, stand so that our procession, our piper, our fire and police honor guard, and the Honourable Judge Bonnie Craig may depart. And then I would invite people to stay here. We're going to have Council stay collectively for photos if you'd like to come forward, members of your family and stuff like that. So I would invite a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Asmunsen, second by Councillor Hodge to adjourn. Any debate? I somehow doubt it. All in favor? Opposed? And once again, we're unanimous. Thank you all.
So would everyone please stand? Thank you, everyone. Please have a good evening and stay for the reception afterwards.